Okay, no. There we go. Okay, welcome. Sorry about that beginning. We are today looking at, let me focus out a little bit. We're going to be looking at Chapter 1, Lesson 8, and we are ordering whole numbers and decimals. And this is from page 55 in your math book. So we're going to be ordering whole numbers and decimals in this lesson. And we are really going to look at, first of all, a whole number. A whole number is a number that does not contain a decimal or a fraction. It is a whole number without any extra pieces. And then obviously decimals are numbers that have decimals. So from page 55, we're going to order the numbers from the chart that are talking about building 3 National Football League stadiums. And so the Invesco field in Inglewood, Colorado was going to cost $364.2 million. Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan was going to cost $430 million. And Quest Field in Seattle, Washington was $350 million. And we're going to order those. So first thing we do is we put them in what I call in a stack, meaning that each of the place values is stacked above each itself. So here are the 100 millions, the 10 millions, the 1 millions, those decimals, and then the tenths place. So I called them millions, but they're really the ones, the tens, and the hundreds. And we are going to always start in the greatest place value on the left. I have a 3, a 4, and a 3. So looking at this place value, I can tell that this is the greatest number. So I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to put a small line through it, not too dark because I need to be able to read that number later, but a small line through it just to know that, okay, I'm done with that one. Then I have here a 3 and a 3. I cannot tell from those two which one is greater, so I move over to the next place value, and I look at a 6 and a 5, and I know that 6 is greater than 5, which makes this the second number in order from least to greatest, and this is the third number from least to greatest. And then or greatest to least. And then I have to always look at what my directions say. So I go back to my book and it says from greatest to least. So that means I'm going to use these in number order. So I start with the number 1. So that tells me that 430 and 0 tenths is greater than number 2. 364 and 2 tenths is greater than number 3. 350 and 0 tenths. And so that would be my answer. When I write my orders and my compares, I want to use those symbols to show if I'm doing from greatest to least or least to greatest. On page 56, we're going to do another set of numbers. These are heights of trees in a state forest on page 56. And they give us 4 numbers. They give us 22 and 65 hundredths. And I'm going to stack these again. 23 and 80 hundredths. 22 and 23 and 25 hundredths. Notice I stacked them, meaning I have the tens place all over the tens places. Here are the ones places all in line. Here are the decimals in line, the tenths in line, and the hundredths in line. And so then I start in my greatest place value on the left, and I have a 2, a 2, a 2, and a 2. That does not tell me anything, so I have to move over to the next place value. Here I have a 2, a 3, a 2, and a 3. So I'm going to focus on the 3s because those are the greatest, but between those 2 3s I need to move over one more place value. So right now I am focused on, I'm going to highlight them, the 2 yellow numbers because they both have 3s in the ones place. So then I'm going to move over a place value. This one has an 8 and this one has a 2. Well, I know 8 is greater, so I'm going to call that my first number. That's my greatest number. And that means this is number 2, my second greatest number. Now I can focus on the numbers that had the digit 2 in the ones place. Move over. I know 6 is greater than 0, so that puts my numbers in this order. Now, the directions on this problem were least to greatest. Now, when I number when I number them in order, when I'm trying to figure out who's greater and who's less, I always number in order from greatest to least. So if my directions say least to greatest, I have to work backwards when I'm writing my answers. So number 4 is my least number. So I would put 22 is less than, then I would go find number 3, 22 and 65/100. So I have to work backwards here. Is less than 23 and 25/100. Is less than 23 and 8/10. And I would write my numbers like that. I may have to annex zeros to fill in places, so if they gave me the numbers, let's see, we'll do least to greatest again, so I can show you how to work backwards. This is not from the book, these are just some numbers I'm going to make up. Let's say they gave me 17, 16 and 25/100, 17 and 3/10, and 17 and 31/100. So here I did stack them. I stacked the tens place on top of the tens place. Here are the ones places. But this 17 doesn't have anything after it. There's no decimal showing. But even though there is not a decimal showing, there is always a decimal in this place. It just we don't always put it there because of the way we write whole numbers. And because there's numbers in the tens place, I need to annex a 0 into that spot. And then here in these two places, I also need to annex zeros so that I have digits in each of the place values. And now I can compare them. I start on the left. Those are all ones, I can't tell. Next I have the sevens are all greater than the 6. So I'm not going to count that 6 right now. I'm just going to look at the sevens. And here I have a 0 and I have a 3 and a 3. I still can't tell who's greatest. 0 obviously isn't, so I'm going to come down here to the 3s. And move over a place value, I have a 0 and a 1. That makes this the greatest, and this one the second greatest. And my other 13 will be my third greatest. And that 16 must be my fourth greatest. That's because when I came here, 1 was greater than 0. So that made that the greatest. This one had a 3, or this one had a 0, so that makes it the second greatest. This is a 17, and there's a 16, so that's the third greatest, and then that one. But my direction said least to greatest, which means I start with number 4. 16 and 25/100 is less than. 17 is less than. 17 and 3/10 is less than. 17 and 31/100. Alright, I hope that was helpful today. See you next time.